You're tuned into the social listening segment here on the BDTV Breakfast Show. This is where we get to unpack some of the latest buzzing stories making the rounds on social media. My name, of course, is Elizabeth Musa, and joining me, of course, again today is Valentine Onyeka.
Pleasure's mine, as usual.
As usual. So there's been a lot of back and forth on social media about the ban of sachet alcohol, and we have a big question. Did Nafdac actually lift the ban or not? Well, yes, what's really going on? Nafdac initially banned sachet alcohol in 2024, but now the ban has been temporarily lifted only until December 31st, 2025. Now, the reason for lifting this ban is to give manufacturers and regulators time to collaborate and ensure a more structured and effective implementation of the ban. Valentine, what are your thoughts on this back and forth? What are your thoughts on, where this ban is at? They say temporary ban till December 20. Like, why is it temporary? Do we even need to have a ban? I mean, they say it every time that Nigeria is a sachet economy, in terms of the fact that every single thing that you never would have imagined would have a sachet option, or a sachet version. You see it. It's in Nigeria that we have sachet water, we have sachet alcohol, we have sachet, you name it, noodles, every single thing has sachet. So firstly, what's your stand on us having this sachet economy, so to speak? And then, do we really need to have a ban on sachet alcohol? Because that's literally like the easier way for people to afford some of these items.
I mean, truth be told, you've already, you just give us the answer to this question, but let's just elaborate more. If you look at it closely, we're already aware that the economy is smiling. And now, before I go any further, I'm not making a case for those who produce the sachet alcohol and everything, but I'm just trying to strike the balance. If an average salary earner cannot, for one reason or the other, cannot buy in bulk, and he or she can maybe purchase something in little units to survive, would that be a good thing to stop that? That's the question. On the flip side, will it be a good thing to say, let's let it continue? Remember, there's the environmental angle where we should come from that angle too. And so to answer that question, I would say we need to have a far more robust information surrounding this. Yes, Nafdac has come out to say we are not the ones sending anybody, any private regulator or so-called regulator hiding under the guise of being a government agency to come to your shop or your establishment to destroy sachet alcohol, as the case may be. Yes, they've said so. But the question is, before anyone gets the approval to manufacture this thing and sell to the public, has Nafdac done their full diligence? It's very important. Remember, I mentioned the flip side. You did mention the flip side. Someone who doesn't have enough money to buy in bulk but has little to enjoy the experience. I'm going to come there. So if we can answer that question, has Nafdac done their full diligence to say that this particular company can now go ahead to manufacture? If so, then they are shooting themselves in the foot. Why? If you give a pass for that to be sold, which means we're assuming that you have done all necessary things that has to be done, testing to make sure that the content, is consumable. Mind you, it's going to the stomach of Nigerians, the public. And of course, we also know that there is, a major question mark. Are those below 18 taking this thing? What's the adverse effect to the society? So I will come to that angle. So I've just mentioned the area of, is Nafdac doing what they need to do fully to say there are checks and balances on those who produce this thing, right? Because if the content has given a pass mark, then why are you banning it? If at all. If you've not banned it, right? If you've not placed a ban on it, then you should come out and have proper publications that will, educate the public that this thing, right? We are standing for this thing or against this thing. And it shouldn't just be rumors. And you know what social media does, right? If a news goes out there that is fake news and is there for too long, unchallenged, after a while, it becomes
disinformation.
That's my point.
Disinformation that now seems like real news.
That's my point. So having said that, on the other side, take a good look at it. If someone earns 50,000 naira monthly, which is small, and he or she wants to enjoy a particular brand, but when he looks at the brand on shelves of supermarket, it says 4,000 naira plus for a big size. I don't want to call brand names now. But if I can buy the small one, right? So the big bottle says 4,000 something. But if I can buy the small one to enjoy the taste, don't you think I want to go for the little one? And of course, let's look at it. Who are the people who are the targets and buyers or consumers for those sachet, alcohol, whatever? Are those who cannot afford the big ones. Now, which brings me to the next thing. How safe is it? And is it being abused? We see it every now and then. We see the drivers on our streets, some commercial drivers. You see them, commercial bus drivers. They are driving on the street with passengers in the vehicle, and it's easy access. Just stay and suck in. Is Nafdac actually putting out some major exposés, major information through NOA? I always call NOA here, which is National Orientation Agency. Are we putting enough information to educate the public, first and foremost, about drinking and driving? So if they come from that angle to say, look, we want to stop this thing, or we are not stopping it, are they considering the fact that by not stopping it, you might increase the risk of accidents? So if they said, okay, we are we actually said we're going to stop people, which they said they didn't say so. But if they do that, because I'm looking at both sides now, will this be good for us? If I'm driving my vehicle, will I have to worry any longer about a drunk driver ramming into my vehicle? Remember the cost. It's cheap, easy access, right? Because it's in a sachet. The big bottle is far expensive. Are you seeing where I'm coming from with these things now?
Right.
And then let's now talk about the effect of the content itself. Right? 90% of I would call them touts, because of course, the economy and the social structure could have put them in that situation. But 90% of never-do-wells that you see under the bridges, waiting for dusk to come or night, and then they pounce on people and prey on innocent people. Most of them consume these things, so it's easy access for them. And they create all manner of cocktails. So I might make a case for Nafdac, right? If they had intention to place a ban on it. So that could be one of the reasons and one of the markers to say, let's place a ban on this thing. But if they've come out to now say, we've not placed a ban on this, now I'll put it this way, we've not effected, there's nothing to now say we are moving ahead to make sure we implement this thing. Then make this information properly communicated to the public in different dialects and different languages, Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, and even in Pidgin English.
Yeah, for the local man, because at the end of the day, the people that are buying sachet alcohol, the people that are buying anything sachet, but whether you like it, are the ones that the people that can't really afford the big sizes. So it's just easier for them to. I can't buy this big bottle, but I can easily buy this one. But I think for me, my only concern, or the only thing I need to have a little bit more clarity on, is the fact that it was banned apparently till December 2025. So I'm wondering, why is there a ban till then?
Why is there a timeline?
Why is there a timeline? It's not like you're banning it or banning it, or if it's lifted, it's lifted. So why then is there a time? Is this is a timeline where you buy all the alcohol you want to, or the timeline is banned, or by this time you can now drink? Like, what exactly happens? What exactly is special about? I just need to have an understanding of that timeline.
I will tell you. And this is not something that is hinged on stone or written. It's an unwritten law, truly speaking. When something is scarce, what happens?
Demand increases.
That's my point. So you see, there are a lot of bootlegs out there. A lot of people will say, this thing you can't buy it off the shelf, or it becomes expensive. Now, again, I'm not making a case against the manufacturers, but truth be told, if this could spiral into a situation where we cannot handle it, then we have to start looking at the fact that the marketing strategy is favoring some people. Is money exchanging hands, now say, look, let us do this to create scarcity, and then we can now hike the price. I mean, we've learned with what's happening with petroleum products and all that stuff. You know, so let's look at that as an eye opener. Is it possible? Is this a possibility? Yeah. What can we say? We're in the business of asking questions, right?
Right. We just have to ask questions. Nafdac, what exactly is it you're doing? Why are you banning to a certain time? What exactly happens in December? What's give us more clarity so that then we can understand, because our audience also needs to understand. Although I don't think our audience is the sachet alcohol type of audience anyway. But let's move on now to a story that is disturbing as it is heartbreaking. Now, gospel singer Timileyin Ajayi, accused of killing and dismembering his 24-year-old NYC girlfriend Salome Adaudu, has been seen praying in court. Yes, hands raised, eyes closed, like he wasn't the one found with a polythene bag containing a severed head earlier this year. Now, this video, which was shared by AIT, shows Ajayi in court for the continuation of his trial. Now, he had confessed earlier that he killed Salome out of jealousy, adding that he felt no regret. Now, this video has sparked anger online, with people questioning how someone capable of such violence could boldly be praying publicly. But let's not forget that it was a pastor, apparently. Now, we see Ajayi praying in court, as you can see in that video, you know, like they say, kabashing. So, kabashing, like that's what we call it. So, is this genuine remorse? Or is this just a way to gain sympathy? I also think he's a very good showman.
Well, again, like they say, how are we dealing with consequences in this country? Right? I don't want to qualify this whole charade, because I call it a charade, with any, substantial analysis. All I want to say is, what is bad, okay, and should be dealt with without any angle of, sentiment. I understand for some platforms, it is a way of making money. Let's be honest. Platforms truth be told, bloggers and all that stuff. But on the real tip, someone's life was taken away, right? I understand they are also carrying out their investigation, and every other thing is being put in place. Right now, he's in court. But looking at him, like they say, lack of a better term, kabashing and praying, is it that he's wanting some miracle to make the judge fall asleep, or to upturn the whole process?
Do you know why I was really curious to actually find the audio of that video? Because I wanted to really hear what he was saying. Although he was just saying different. He wasn't speaking. He wasn't saying a particular thing like, "Oh my God, help." It was kabashing. Also, I'm really curious.
Speaking about that curiosity, let's be honest. What if he's mentally deranged and he's saying other things that such information could be important? So I'm shocked that while doing that, they were only recording him instead of bringing their microphone to hear what it is he was saying. Because the act, the act that took place, murder, right? At a level where you can't even begin to, phantom why.
Dismembering the body of somebody.
Do you understand? Cutting into different pieces. So before I even go any further, remember the story of Reverend King?
I do remember.
Who set one of his members on fire. And when they asked him, he said, that he got a divine calling to do that. Now, this whole thing hinges upon the fact that religion needs fingers to be pointed at.
And fingers are being pointed.
Honestly speaking.
Fingers are pointed.
And then I'm not a religious, put this way, so I'm not a cleric, but in our societies today, if you look at it, most people, and it's not funny, but it's ironic. Most children or, teenagers will rather take advice from their pastor than their parents. So you have a serious issue, I go to my pastor first. I go to my imam first. I'm not saying that they are not there to help shaping the child, but I'm saying the first education a child should have should be the parents. And I don't think any parent will advise his or her child wrongly. Let's start with that. There's a fundamental flaw. Because the society in which someone grows up can create reason for someone to begin to think that way. So when we rule that out first, what kind of home did you grow up in? Now, I'm trying to not justify, but imagine why the act was carried out in the first place.
Right.
And then we'll move over to the kind of people he hangs around with. You say he is a gospel singer. Anyone can be a gospel singer.
Absolutely.
You don't have to be a Christian to be a gospel singer.
Yeah.
I can just say I want to start singing in, talking about praise and everything, but I'm not a gospel. I'm not a Christian. Right? So if that be the case, what they've done right now is they have used one of the things that he used to do as a case study to draw in more attention to it. Let's be honest. A bad person is a bad person, regardless of whether you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, or you're a Hindu, or whatever, or maybe you're an atheist, or whatever it is. So it qualifies what I'm saying, which is what kind of education and kind of, discipline or the kind of upbringing did he have while he was a child in his home? There's no way the father and mother couldn't have seen some certain things while he was growing up, saying, this is my child. There's something going on.
There's something off about. But you know what? Let's see some of the reactions. We didn't take a look at the reactions for the first story. We'll probably come back to that one. But let's see some of the reactions that our listeners and some of the social media users are making about this post.
Right.
Now, Uche says, praying for what exactly? That's the big, that's the big question. Let's see more reactions on this story on social media. Mike Wisdom says, it doesn't mean the prayer. It's just seeking the face and sympathy of the judge, just like you said. You thought rightly.
The whole thing.
Let's see. Massage Guru says, why didn't he apply the same prayer to get some meaningful job instead of killing innocent people? Wow. Let's see more reactions to this story. We don't have more reactions to this story, but those are some of the reactions that people have made on social media about this one. The story is really disturbing. When he called the first time when I'd seen the news, I'm like, firstly, how do people meet these people? I mean, you never can tell, but I think also on our part, maybe there's a part we also have to play. Maybe there's also going to be a little bit of prayer to do, because
why must we pray about issues like this?
Look, Nigeria is a religious country.
What
we
if
have said it.
We channel that energy into educating our children?
But that's why. So I'm going to come from the religious angle. They'll say watch and pray. The watch is the channeling, the education,
and the pray is the one in court.
The pray is no. The watch is the education, is the using your own discernment to see, to filter, to sieve your relationships, your all of that. The prayer is the angle, because the truth is every Nigerian is very religious. Not just Christianity, not just if it's not Christianity, it's Islam. If it's not Islam, it's the Father. It's just something.
Can I chip in there? And this is me speaking on a very broad, table. Have you been to China before? How many churches or mosques do you see in China? China probably is not the most religious country in the world, but by far, if not the most developed country in the world. Do you know why? Do you know why? You see, there's something I want people to understand. I don't think God created religion. Now, that's my own opinion. I should not be. I should be objective. But I'm just saying.
It's true.
Man created religion.
You're entitled to your opinion,
And so, was it created for control? That should be a topic for a different day. Maybe when I go on a religious show and talk about that. But for now, let's stick with this.
You're digressing. But let's see some of the reactions to the first story. I'm really curious to see what some people were saying about the sachet ban and all of that. Nonso says so many harmful substances are packaged, not just in sachets, but bottles and plastics, and they're sold as alcohol. Firstly, I'm really all about this old banning bottles, banning and plastic thing, because I've always been against it. Before recycling, before this old trend, because I call it a trend, that's a trend that's come to stay. It's not just a trend. Some like it, everyone talking about sustainability. I've been like that for the longest time. And my mom used to wonder, like, I didn't like the ideas of going to the stores and then they will give you those what we call nylon bags, plastic bags. I've never liked the idea. I've always been a person that just believes in just having like tote bags where you can just recycle the same bag, because you find in a Nigerian home growing up, then you find out I'm sure every Nigerian home has that bag where you put different nylons into the other. So I'm all for this banning when it comes to banning plastic, banning also bottles, whatnot. It's very important. Let's see more reactions to this story on social media. Jay says that why wait till December if it's not safe for I think that's just been my major question. Like, are you saying that okay, buy as much as you can till December? Steve Teen says, I don't drink, but I'll say this isn't entirely good as well. Not everybody has the money for beer, true, or can afford alcohol drinks. They might not even want to drink much. That's why they go for sachets. Now you're banning it. Why? What will it solve? Poverty?
Do you think this person is not a seasoned alcoholist?
Alex Orby says it's long overdue. Those sachet alcoholic drinks are mostly fake and are destroying life. Yeah, from that angle, it's important for them to ban it. So it's really good to see the reactions, balance. The person talking about why they have to wait till December. The person that is talking about the fact that most of those alcoholic drinks are fake. They're causing havoc.
Some of them.
Some of them maybe because they're on the streets. I can imagine people just packaging different things because that picture we saw on the screen just now, I saw different. I've never seen such brands before. Maybe because that's not really my line.
Which brings me to, just so that I don't digress. If you remember, I mentioned, I said, is Nafdac doing what they need to do to make sure that all these brands actually have authentic registration number? Because go there, you see beneath them, they have registration number, this, that. Are those authentic numbers? If they are, which means someone has vetted it to be, consumable. If that be the case, did they pay for these things? What was the process before they finally got the go ahead to produce? So if you know you're going to place a ban on it, which they've come out to say we've not placed a ban, then why give them the certificate in the first place?
That's the big question.
And to respond again to just do a bit of highlight on the angle of China and religion. Now moving on a little bit right now to the other story, right? Yes, we're already aware that China, there are a lot of Buddhists there, right? Buddhism and stuff. But give and take, that's before we go. I'm just touching both stories now. Give and take. If you look at it, why are they like the leading, when it comes to technology and everything, is that they put that one on the side. They focus on what the country is all about. Unlike some countries here in Nigeria.
Countries in Nigeria.
Look, we are so religious in nature that sometimes we allow reasoning to be put aside. So that's what I meant by saying in China they're not too religious like that, but they have what works for them.
Right.
So
if you actually look at African countries as well that are not so focused, because I like to talk about Africa. I'm very, Pan-African in my thinking.
So you're like me, so we have something in common.
That's good. So when I think about African countries as well that have this, they practice, different religions, but they are not so focused on religion, so to speak. And I would start with Rwanda. That's a country that I've lived, and really that country for me is one of the most developed African countries. Clean. It's easily the conference. Yeah, it's easily the conference, capital of Africa right now. Everybody wants to host some of their biggest conferences in Africa, and we call ourselves the giant of Africa. But
are we really the giant?
Are we really the giant when a small country like Rwanda is doing all of these amazing things? And if you recall, I think about last year or some years back, the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, had banned how many churches? Closed down how many churches?
Because of noise pollution.
Yes. It closed down how many? It could never be in Nigeria. So many times, Nigeria from one step to another, you're seeing a church, you're seeing a church, you're seeing a church, and it's not many of them have regulations, especially the smaller churches. They are noisy. There's just a whole lot going on, and then they're paying taxes.
Well, all that is for the regulators to look into. But just to highlight a little bit, I will tell you that if he didn't max his true intention with the idea of being a gospel artist, do you know that we could have fished him out a long time ago? I'm sure he was showing different traits of being someone who could kill somebody. But people around me felt, no, he's a gospel artist, so we don't think he might go that route. But he already had such, that kind of thought in his mind, someone who could do such a thing. And so, which begs the question again: are we allowing people to use the word religion to mask who they really are? I mentioned the issue of Reverend King at the time. Let's be honest. If we don't blindfold ourselves, right, with religion, would we really see who people really are, for what they're made of, what they can really do? So the government can swing in and say, look, as a human being first. Again, I'm not saying religion is bad. No, I'm saying as a human being first, what kind of character do you have? I know they say character is not what somebody sees outside. It's who you are inside, because then you can't change it. You see now? And then it is who you are inside will finally come outside. So in his house there, I'm sure his wife would have seen a lot of problems, but he kept quiet until he came out and then set someone ablaze. Speaking about the young man also, presently now, so-called gospel singer. While he was at home, his dad or mom or whoever it is that he lived could have seen some trait. This guy is not mentally sound. There's what they call delusion of grandeur. Where you think in your own brain and your own mind that you've been sent by somebody to come do something, be the icon. But it's happening only in your mind.
It's happening only in your mind. It's just you seeing it.
That's it. And then, when it comes to the law, premeditated murder meets the death penalty. Let's be honest. In other words, you thought about it. You said, look, I'm going to plan it. I'm going to buy the right, get the right situation, get the right equipment, this, that, and carry out such heinous crime. I don't think anything has to do with, mental disorder. It's just a bad person.
I think that's where I'll just cap it off by saying what I had said earlier. We need to watch and pray. So
says Elizabeth.
Well, that's where we bring it to wraps on the social listening segment here on the BDTV Breakfast Show. It was truly an interesting conversation. Let's watch and pray. Thank you.